Title: Racist Police Officers Arrest Black Woman. Shocked to learn she is the presiding judge on their case. Imagine being unjustly treated by those who are meant to protect you, only to reveal a shocking truth that completely changes the game. In the fictional town of Rosewood, North Carolina, Olivia Carter's life was about to take a dramatic turn. Olivia, a highly respected and talented attorney, was driving home after a long day in court. Dressed casually and driving a modest car, she was just another person navigating through the evening traffic. The atmosphere in Rosewood was tense. Recent protests over racial inequality had sparked heated debates about police-community relations, particularly in the Black community. Against this backdrop, officers Mike Reynolds and Greg Tanner were on their usual patrol. Prejudiced and driven by stereotypes, they were always quick to suspect anyone who didn't fit their narrow view of normal. As Olivia drove through an intersection, red flashing lights from a police cruiser appeared in her rearview mirror. With a sigh, she pulled over. She knew she had done nothing wrong, but her experience as a lawyer made her acutely aware of the dangers such encounters could bring. License and registration. Officer Reynolds demanded in a cold, emotionless voice without offering an explanation for the stop. Maintaining the composure honed through years of facing adversity, Olivia handed over her documents. "Is there a problem, officer?" she asked politely. "You don't need to know that right now," Reynolds responded in a hostile tone. Greg Tanner stood by the car, making disparaging remarks that Olivia chose to ignore. Despite her respectful demeanor, the officers claimed Olivia matched the description of a wanted suspect and ordered her out of the vehicle for a routine search. Olivia knew her rights were being violated, but decided to comply, planning to address the issue legally afterward. Even as she was handcuffed, her sharp legal mind stayed focused, recording every detail for future use in court. Bystanders began recording the incident, and soon Olivia Carter's name was trending on social media as the footage went viral. What these officers didn't realize was that they were about to face a truth that would not only impact their careers, but potentially change their lives forever. Get ready. Nothing could have prepared them for what happened in court when they discovered who the woman they arrested truly was. In the days following Olivia Carter's arrest, public outrage and widespread criticism flooded the Rosewood Police Department. The footage depicting the abuse of authority had spread like wildfire. Yet, Olivia remained publicly silent. Back at her office, Olivia gathered her legal team. "I won't retaliate with inflammatory words. We'll resolve this in court, using the facts," she declared firmly. Her determination was fueled not only by the humiliation she had endured, but by the chance to confront a flawed system head-on. The prosecution swiftly dropped the charges against Olivia after reviewing the arrest footage and witness testimonies. However, Olivia knew the issue didn't end there. She filed a civil lawsuit against the police department for abuse of power and racial discrimination. The Rosewood Police Department was in crisis mode. The sheriff was scrambling to salvage the department's tarnished reputation. Reynolds and Tanner were summoned to testify, but stubbornly maintained their stance, insisting the stop was justified and denying any racial bias. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, activists, and onlookers crowded together to witness a case that had become a powerful symbol of the fight against systemic racism. The judge announced the entry of Olivia Carter, who assumed her position to present the case. At that moment, tension turned to shock as the officers realized the woman they had handcuffed was now presiding over their case. Reynolds, incredulous, whispered to Tanner, "Is this a joke? She can't be a judge." But it was true. Judge Olivia Carter had been assigned to the case after the original judge was recused due to a conflict of interest. It was a twist of fate that left the officers exposed to the impartial judgment of their very own victim. With a commanding voice, Olivia addressed the court. "Today, we are not here just to settle a legal matter. We are here to confront uncomfortable truths about bias and abuse of power." Silence enveloped the courtroom as Olivia continued. "No one should be judged by the color of their skin, but by the merits of their character and actions. The law is clear, but regrettably, it is not always applied equitably." As the trial progressed, shocking truths about police practices in Rosewood began to surface. The consequences would be severe, but justice was only beginning to be served. What was revealed in court shocked the entire town and left the police department with no way out. Olivia not only exposed the abusive stop she had endured, but presented a detailed account of the officer's questionable actions. There were prior complaints of racial discrimination and unethical conduct filed against Reynolds and Tanner, complaints that had been conveniently ignored by the department. The prosecution called witnesses who recounted similar incidents, highlighting a disturbing pattern of racial bias. This isn't just about an isolated incident, one of Olivia's attorneys argued, but a toxic culture that has permeated this department for years. As the days in court dragged on, Reynolds and Tanner began to feel the weight of the accusations. Olivia's steady gaze during their testimonies made them visibly uneasy. With each pointed question, their contradictions became more apparent. Officer Reynolds, Olivia's attorney, pressed, "Do you deny stopping Ms. Carter based on racial assumptions?" Reynolds hesitated before replying, "I don't see it that way." But the damage was done. Radio communications during the stop and an eyewitness account clearly revealed undeniable racial bias. An unexpected revelation during the trial further weakened the officer's defense. Leaked text messages revealed Reynolds and Tanner exchanging racist remarks with one another. The courtroom fell into a stunned silence as the messages were read aloud. These messages, Olivia declared, are not just offensive. They reflect a system in dire need of change. Emotional testimonies from local residents who had faced similar experiences brought tears to the audience's eyes. A mother spoke of her constant fear for her teenage sons, while another man described being handcuffed for no apparent reason while walking in his own neighborhood. Olivia maintained her composure, though each story weighed heavily on her heart. "This isn't just my fight," she thought, "but the fight of all those who have been silenced by fear or despair." Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered daily in support of Olivia and the cause she represented. Signs with messages like "Justice for All" and "End Systemic Racism" were held high with pride. The town of Rosewood was awakening, and resistance to prejudice was gaining momentum. Olivia understood this was only the beginning of a long battle, but found hope in the collective strength being built. As the trial reached its climax, a final twist would leave everyone speechless, forcing Rosewood to confront its deepest failures. Justice was finally served, but not without one last surprising turn. As the trial neared its conclusion, Olivia Carter prepared her closing statement. The courtroom was thick with tension as the town eagerly awaited the resolution of a case symbolic of a greater struggle. "This court is not here merely to rule on the actions of two men," Olivia began, looking directly at Reynolds and Tanner. "We are here to decide whether we will continue allowing prejudice to corrupt our institutions or embrace the change that is so desperately needed." Her words echoed through the courtroom, resonating as a call for justice. Just when it seemed everything had been said, an unexpected figure requested to speak. Captain James Moore, head of the Rosewood Police Department. Known for his rigid and conservative reputation, Moore took the stand. "I was wrong," Moore admitted, his voice heavy with guilt. "The system I helped uphold has failed our community. There's no excuse for that." His confession stunned everyone and marked a historic moment. "We are implementing immediate changes," he continued. "Officers Reynolds and Tanner have been suspended without reinstatement, and we are launching a comprehensive re-education program for the entire police force." The jury returned a unanimous verdict: guilty of abuse of authority and racial discrimination. Reynolds and Tanner were escorted out of the courtroom by police, their careers ruined, and their actions finally held accountable. Though pleased with the verdict, Olivia knew the fight was far from over. "This victory is just the beginning," she stated at a press conference. "There is much work to be done to ensure no one else faces what I and so many others have endured." The case gained national attention. Rosewood became a symbol of renewal and reform, inspiring cities across the country to reassess their policing policies. Olivia, in turn, became an influential voice in the fight for equality and justice. Weeks later, at a community gathering, Olivia addressed the crowd. "The road ahead may be long and difficult, but together we are stronger than hatred or prejudice could ever be. Let's keep moving forward, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. The crowd gave her a standing ovation, knowing that thanks to Olivia's courage, change was no longer a distant dream, but a reality in the making. This story stands as a powerful reminder that even in the face of injustice, truth and courage can prevail.